What's up, you guys? It's Danny Williams.
And Lucas Tyndale.
And it is November 1st, and we are coming to you live this Friday morning, ready to get into this new show.
What's up, Danny? It's the first of the month.
How you feeling?
I'm feeling like I was alive when Bone Thugs and Harmony was singing first of the month.
Yeah,
it was before your time.
I got
It's
paid
the
nice
first
and
of the-
early, baby.
You did?
Nice and early.
I was in here sending payments out.
You was sending
Y'all
payments.
came in.
I was getting paid.
Y'all came in late. I was like, let me send them payments. I
So you
thought y'all
just-
was on strike
so
in the
they-
parking lot. I was like, they ain't coming.
Send them some money so they can come on and
so they
get
can come to work.
here.
What's wrong with
Listen.
these girls?
Go ahead and tap in, share the live, give us some hearts, tag some of your coworkers, some friends, some family. Let them know that we're live. We're gonna have fun. If you were here last week, then you know we like to party, we like to have fun. We do have some special guests today, so we'll bring them on. But
Yeah.
we're gonna have some fun today.
We're excited today. We have Magistrate Matt Krietzer is in the building. We're talking to him
Yes.
today. He is on the ballot here in Stark County.
It is voting
it is voting season. We're going to talk to him. We also have the executive director and founder of Mentor Stark, Laurie Moline, along with Isaiah Smith, who's a very important part of that great organization. Today we're going to talk to them, but we're going to talk to you guys. We got some hot topics today.
Yeah.
We got some trivia. If you're watching live or by replay, stay tuned. If you're watching by replay, put replay in the comments. We love to see those pop up throughout the week. When people type replay in, we know you're in there watching. That's so super cool. We really enjoy that. If you're watching this right now, sometimes you're watching on Facebook and you're kind of not in the broadcast. You're kind of watching it from the outside and we don't know you're there. That's okay. I understand because I do that sometimes. But it's fun when you tap in and you say hello. Tell us where you're watching from. Tell us what you're doing. Are you getting ready for work, getting the kids ready? Are you off today? What's up? Let us know. Tap in because soon we're going to start giving away prizes to people who are active with us. And we're going to remember that you were tapping into our new show, showing us some love, and an active participant in the show. So thank you guys so much. It is Friday,
Like
first of the month.
loyal customers, right?
Yeah, we're gonna hook 'em up.
Yeah, you always in there. You always in the comments. You always liking. You always this. So, yeah, there you go. Hey, Asia.
What's going on, Asia?
We want to give a congratulations to Asia and her new
Yes,
fiance,
cheers.
Scamp Hollis Alexander.
Yes.
So shout out to you guys. We were actually able to be in the building for that, and that was
Yeah.
beautiful. I had a little tear in my eye.
I did
I was
too.
like, oh my goodness, I didn't think I was gonna cry, but
Yes.
it's just beautiful seeing love, seeing Black love. It's just
It was beautiful.
love in general. So
Yes.
shout
I like
out
how
to
that
them.
comment came up, by the way. I see our producers over there trying to fix it. That was cool.
It was
do
cute,
it again.
though. I
Let's
like
do
it
it.
on the
I like
side.
that. Throw
I
that
like it
up
on the
there. Let's
side.
make it fun.
No,
we
it's
we
cool.
learning new things. Shout out to Tiff. She learned how to throw comments up in different ways. So let's just try it live. Y'all figure it out while it's going. That's cool. Throw
Yeah.
another one up there. Yeah. So shout out to Asia. We got to be live in the
Yes.
building. And listen, I said to
Yes.
them, I've never seen anybody bring more Maslin and McKinley people together in one place
Man.
with love.
Oh my goodness!
Everybody
it
was-
was love. It was like a friendly trash talk.
It
Like,
was.
you got on orange. You got on red.
Yeah.
But let's eat this burger.
Let's eat
together.
this. Let's chill.
You know,
You know what I
It was
mean?
all good. It
Let's
was
gather
all
together.
good.
Yeah.
Yes. They had so many people there, and you know what? It just felt like love.
Yeah.
Because everyone kind of knew, like, sorry, Asia, but everybody kind of knew that Skip was getting ready to do that.
Yeah, we knew.
So when it happened, I just looked around like, man, like they're blessed. They have so many, family and friends surrounding them. I know that wedding is going to be off the chain.
Yes.
So I'm just excited. I'm just excited for y'all. Like that, it's just good to see. You
Yeah,
know
I
what mean?
love it. I love it. I love it. I want to see our producers throw multiple comments up. They said they can put multiple up at the same time. So let's see.
Okay.
Let's see this happen. I like it. Throw them all up
Hey,
around us. Look at
I
this. This
love
is wild.
it.
Throw some over there on the screen, over there on the other side. Throw some over here. Put some over there. Let's see what they can do.
People can see this shit.
Let's see what they
though,
can
'cause
do.
They behind.
I think they can. What's up?
Are
Let's
they?
see.
Okay,
I don't know. Let's see. I don't know. They are. It is a.
Oh, we gotta go
Let's
and
see.
share it.
We gotta go
and
share. We gotta
it.
go share the broadcast.
Good
All right.
morning. So yeah, good morning,
What's
Asia.
up,
Good
Ron?
morning,
What's going on, my
Ronald. How
man?
y'all
What's
doing?
up? Glad to have you guys here.
Latoni.
Thank you guys for jumping in. We practicing new things. Y'all know we always doing new things here at
top
Lucas
of
Live
the
Media.
top.
What's happening? It's nice because see, we was only throwing comments up one at a time. Now we got the comments popping everywhere because y'all are a part of the show.
Yes.
That's how we do it here. Let me figure it out. We gotta share this broadcast.
Love this.
If you guys could share the broadcast, that always means so much to us because that allows more people to see the great broadcast that we got going on here as we look down at our phones and figure out how to do what we do, here today. Shout out to DJ Cruz. DJ Cruz is not here today. She wasn't feeling well, but we send our love
Yes.
to DJ Cruz.
Make sure y'all do too in the Crew Way experience.
Yes.
You guys need a DJ for any of your events, DJ Crews, and the Crew Way experience is the way to go because she will keep the party jumping, keep the vibes going.
Yes, we
And
miss her.
We miss her. We miss her because
We had a party going this morning, but it wasn't the same.
We did. It's not the same. It's not the same because, like, you know, like I said, I have a newfound appreciation for all DJs. Like, my son the other day, my oldest, was in the car and we were listening to the radio. And he's like, then why did he do that and do that? I said, you don't understand what's happening right now. Like, he went to this song, to that song because it makes sense, but you don't know that song. So it's just, you know, I got to explain to people.
He was mad that they cut off his favorites. He liked that song.
And they put an old song. I forget what songs it was. Yeah. Put an old song to it, but it was a good.
They did it for a reason.
It went right. Yeah. And I knew and I understood what was going on because I understand the art of DJing now a little bit. So I was like, I had to break it down to him, like, nah. They was
There's
going
a reason
crazy
for this.
Yeah. So good morning, Sister Corinne. Listen, I'm telling y'all right now. Lucas was in here trying to tell me about a bookmark that my sister was making. Listen. And he was explaining these. It's going to be so cool. It's like a purse. I'm like, a purse bookmark? What are you talking about? I'm going to have to just see it because I don't really know. The way he explained it was what she did was not what I was expecting.
Well, okay, don't say I messed up the explanation.
You did it. It was just.
Okay. It's hard to.
It was hard to explain.
It's so innovative. It's so amazing, isn't it?
Innovative. That's the perfect word.
Yes.
Because I almost was like, sis, patent it, save it, don't everybody take it. Because it was such a great idea that I haven't seen anything like that. And I think for all the book lovers, all the book girlies out there, go to Kareen's page, see what I'm talking about.
Kareen, put that website in the comments, babe, so people can see it. You guys check out Kareen's new bookmark. It is called The Bookmark.
The Bookmark
by Kareen Marie. It is unbelievable for book lovers out there. It looks like a purse strap. Yes. She has some different designs, some different types of straps, and it's connected to a bookmark. So you put it in your book to mark your page wherever you're at in the book, and it gives you a nice little strap.
Put that thing on your arm, and you're on your way.
That's fashion.
It's so cute. I mean, like, think about all the book clubs and book meetings and just going to the bookstore and reading your books or whatever you're doing, however you're doing it. You can walk off looking real cute and stylish. So shout out to Kareen. She's always been so creative like that. So
she's like that.
I'm excited to see her still, using her
fashion and her authorship.
Yes. I met her as a designer, a fashion designer, and I was blown away because I was thinking, a lot of us, we go and we get to vendors and we get things, but she was in there sewing up those dresses and skirts herself, going to get the fabric, and I thought that was fascinating. That I at the time had never seen anything like that.
Right.
So I'm just excited to see her meshing those two things into one. Good morning, Candy Settle.
What's
said,
up,
good morning,
Candy? What's going
people.
on? What's up, Candy? Hey, y'all, check this out, Candy. Candy's very fashionable, and Candy has fashionable family. Her mother's beautiful. Her sisters are beautiful. Candy's beautiful. They're just a beautiful, fashionable family. So her daughter, all of them. So, Candy, y'all need to check out my wife's new bookmark. Y'all check those out because y'all could be the fashion family, rocking it all as a family.
Yeah.
But, Kareen, we love your new bookmark. Check it out. Ron said, what's your favorite book? That would be great. Y'all type that in the comments. I like that.
What's your favorite book? Do you have a favorite book?
My favorite book is John Maxwell's The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership.
Okay.
That's probably not fun.
But hey, that's still,
I don't know.
That's still good.
I mean, or Dr. Gary Chapman's The 5 Love Languages probably might be my next one. I always talk about that one. That's probably number one. The 5 Love Languages, I love that.
I love Tuesdays with Murray. I read that book, and then I've read the 4 Agreements probably 3 times.
Is that right?
Yeah, because it's just there's so many lessons.
That's so good. Somebody was just talking about
there's
that.
There's so many lessons in it. It's like it should if you read it, you know what I mean. It's like just refreshing yourself and reminding yourself. So those are my 2 top faves. So
I thought it was gonna be like a love story or something. So that's good. But that's good. I mean, I love love stories. Also, one of my favorites is A Small Piece of Her Heart by Kareen Marie.
Same.
Let's not forget A Small Piece of Her Heart. Beautiful book by Kareen Marie.
When we went to New York, I read the whole
you guys
thing
did take
in
a
the car.
trip. Yeah.
I read the whole thing in the car.
Yeah.
Like, until it was my turn to drive. But
Yeah. Then you couldn't. You weren't reading and driving.
I wasn't.
There's no rules against that though. Don't text and drive, but they don't say don't read and drive.
Don't. I mean, I don't know.
I don't think that's against the rules. I don't know.
Well, we have a magistrate in here. So
We do. Maybe he can tell us the rules. Maybe he knows. He's an attorney. He can tell us like you might.
Yes.
He can't represent you if you've done that.
Before we bring our guests on, would you guys go ahead and share this live? Give us some hearts. Tag your family, your friends, like I said before. Let them know we are live and we are kicking off this Friday morning. But we want you guys.
And it's election season.
It's election season. If you're not registered to vote, please go.
I don't. Do you have time? We'll find out today.
Is there time?
I don't know because it's getting down to the wire. We got like
well,
5 days away.
If you are registered to vote,
and you
or
should
if
be.
you don't know,
Yeah.
I don't know the website off the top of my head, but
I think
know
like
he does.
vote.com. I think you can find out where to vote at.
Vote.com.
I think so.
That's a thing?
I'm pretty. Now, don't play me like I'm crazy because I did it. And I double checked. Listen, here's the crazy part. I was already registered, but it was like on some channel. And it was like, go to vote.com or something like that. And I did it, or vote.org or something. And I did it. And I re-registered. I like double checked my thing. And they sent me the thing. And it was like, yeah, you're already registered, but
It shows you where you can go and vote at.
Because I was like, I'm going to make sure ain't nobody playing me because I'm not going to not be able to vote. So I made sure my stuff was good and it was good. And they sent me and my wife's stuff and said, you're all good and all good. Your grandma's on there.
Hey, Grandma.
Hey, what's up, Grandma?
Hey, Grandma.
What's up,
what
Grandma?
She said?
She's saying, what's up,
that's your favorite book. The Left Behind
series.
Okay.
Shout out to
Grandma.
Grandma.
My grandma is a Harry Potter fan.
Is she?
She used to take us to see Harry Potter movies.
Okay.
And I love her so much, but I was just like, this is a her thing.
That wasn't your thing?
Not really.
Don't
but
tell
I loved
her,
her, so I was going with her. You know what I mean?
Aww.
I loved it.
I saw my Aunt Gloria in here too. What's up, Aunt Gloria? How you doing? She said my wife was very creative. I saw her say that earlier. All good. Did I say what's up to my guy, Mark Bigsby? I hope I said what's up to Mark Bigsby.
Good morning, Mark
He's the man behind the sounds of the city. He's
Yes.
the man behind the sounds of the city. Hey, one more thing, and before our first guest comes on, we're going to have a special Lucas Live news special this coming Monday.
Yes.
With I don't want to say it was the soul. What was it called? I forget. But our good friend, Mr. Cap 3, he is a legend here in the city. He is a man behind music here in the city, radio here in the city. You guys remember Cap 3. You know Cap 3 from Joy 1520. Joy 1520 is coming back real soon. I believe this coming spring. Cap 3 will be here to help to start the launch of Joy 1520, to talk to you guys about how you can tune in coming this spring. And also he is in charge or working with the Levert Experience. You guys remember Gerald Levert and Sean Levert and the Levert group back in the day. The group is back. Obviously, Sean and Gerald have passed, but they brought back the Levert Experience with one of the members of the Rude Boys and one of the members of Men at Large, and they brought it back to sing. And they're actually going to be on virtually with us on Monday, and Cap will be here in studio with us, and it's going to be a special time. They have a special event coming up, which is a fundraiser for Joy 1520, which will happen at the Cultural Center. It's going to be a musical night of fun and magic and wonder, and we're going to be there in the building, and they're going to be here in studio, and things are going to be amazing because we're always doing fun, amazing things.
That is so fun. So fun. So make sure you guys, what time is it going to be on Monday? You didn't tell them that.
Monday, 6 p.m. 6 p.m. Monday. Make sure you guys tune in to Lucas Live Media. Make sure you're following us on all social media pages. Cap 3 will be in the building as we support Joy 1520's return. He is a legend, somebody I've known since I was young and have always looked up to and loved, and we're so glad he shows us so much love and support, and we will love and support him as he brings back Joy 1520.
Before we bring our guest on, give you Tori, good morning to you.
What's up? What's
Ronald
up?
Hobson. Is that how you say his
Yes,
last name?
Ron, what's up? Throw up some of them comments. Y'all throw them comments up there. Throw them comments up there.
And y'all get to good in the comments like, here go Danielle and her
It's
pronunciation.
basketball season.
Yeah, basketball
Cavs,
season.
They
Let's
beat the
go
Lakers.
Cavs.
Bronny
Okay.
James scored his first NBA point.
Oh, that's amazing.
In Cleveland.
I feel like, man, I'm not gonna get into it, but
What?
LeBron and Bronny are making so much history, and I feel
So
like
special.
people just ain't appreciating it like they should be.
We can.
We can, for sure.
We got a show.
For sure.
The media.
Shout
We the
out
media.
to LeBron and Bronny.
We can do it.
All right?
Yes.
All right.
Wait. Hold on. We got to say what's up to some people real
Lisa
quick. I know we got to
Owens,
wrap, but
good
Lisa Owens, what's up?
morning.
Catrice Bigby, what's up? I just want to make sure we say what's up. We just want to make sure we don't miss anybody because we love you. You being here matters because as important as our guest is, we want you to be here for our guest. So we don't want you to go anywhere and not feel like you're special to us because you are special to us. And we thank you. Please share this broadcast if you're here because by sharing the broadcast, people who you know will be able to see this and watch this and support this great guest and our other great guests and this great conversation we're having today. It is election season. It is our last show before the election coming up this Tuesday. So we want you guys to tune in and hear our great guests today. We are going to move on at this time. We're ready to roll. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So before we bring him on, we're going to play a short clip to introduce you to him, and we'll be right back.
I am Chief Magistrate Matt Krietzer. I've been working in the Stark County Family Court for over 15 years, first as an attorney, and for the past 8 years on the bench as a magistrate. I care about Stark County's children, parents, and families. I have devoted my career to this court, and that is why I am asking for your vote to make me Stark County's next Family Court judge.
Matt Krietzer is the only candidate running for Stark County Family Court Judge with experience on the bench, having handled over 10,000 family court cases as a magistrate. Stark County, you can have confidence that Matt Krietzer will handle your case with experience, fairness, and empathy. Vote for judicial experience. Put a fair, firm judge on the bench by voting Matt Krietzer for Stark County Family Court Judge.
Paid for by Elect Krietzer Family Court Judge Committee. Michael McGurvey, Treasurer.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we want to welcome our guest here today, Magistrate Matt Krietzer, who is running for Family Court Judge. Welcome to the show today.
Welcome.
Good morning. Thank you for having me on.
Good morning. We're so excited about this. It is election season, and we always tell people on our show we're not heavily political, and we're not here to take sides, so to speak, but we always say when we know people or we've gotten to know people in the community, we just bring on people who we know and love. So that's what it was. You and I met recently, and I just from our conversation, I just thought very highly of you, and you just seemed so sincere. And you weren't talking to me as somebody running for office or anything. I had seen you in the community. I heard you talking and speaking about different things, and I just thought, man, he seems like a really sincere person, not like a politician of some sort, just a sincere person who cared about people and cared about things. And I thought, he's the kind of person I want to interview anyway, who I would have on my show anyway. So I'm going to have him on my show. And I reached out and you said, I'd love to. So you said, let me see if I can move my court docket around. I said, wow, that's a big deal. People got to move their case docket around for us. I said, that's special. So to people who don't know, talk to us briefly about, right now it is election season. What is your current position and what position are you running for right now?
So right now I'm the Chief Magistrate at the Stark County Family Court. Our court has 3 judges and 6 magistrates. So I'm in charge of the other magistrates. That's my administrative role in addition to my magistrate duties. And I'm running for Family Court Judge because one of our judges is retiring at the end of the year. Our longest serving judge, who's on the bench right now, is Judge James, and he's the one who's retiring. So I'm running for his seat.
Awesome. Listen, okay, so what inspired your career in family law? And maybe like how did your personal experiences shape the path?
Well, growing up, it was me, my mom, my brother, my sister, and my stepfather. My biological father wasn't involved in my life. My stepfather was an abusive, domestically violent alcoholic. So domestic violence is something that I personally experienced or witnessed on a regular basis, along with alcohol issues. And they did not work, so we were on public assistance. Back then, they called it welfare.
Yeah.
And, we struggle with all the same things that low-income families struggle with: the housing insecurity, the food insecurity, the clothing insecurity, being evicted, having utilities shut off, things of that nature. Well, when I graduated high school, I went to college with the intent of being in the FBI.
Okay.
I had no concept of being an attorney or practicing law. But I majored in criminal justice studies and minored in paralegal studies. And the paralegal program required me to do an internship. And I did my internship in the legal department of the Akron Metropolitan Housing Authority. And through that internship, I got to go to court. I got to meet judges. I got to meet attorneys. I got to see the practice of law, and I really enjoyed it. So I switched from going to the FBI to going to law school. And I really just wanted to help people. I had a generic goal of helping people because I knew there were people that grew up like I did and maybe couldn't afford an attorney, and I wanted to help out. Well, I started in private practice in 2004, doing everything that would come in the door, including family law cases. So I've been doing family law for 20 years now. But I didn't set out to do family law. I got hired by the Stark County Public Defender's Office on February 5th of 2007 was my first day working in the Stark County Family Court. And what really impressed me about the court was all the service providers in the community that the court had connections with that could get help for the families that I worked with. Because as a public defender, I represented juveniles who were charged with breaking the law. I represented parents in dependency, neglect, and abuse cases, so who were having their children removed from their home by Child Protective Services. And I represented parties on contributing to delinquency of minor charges as well as contempt charges. And working with that population, it just, like I said, when I went to law school, I didn't know what I wanted to do. But when I started working with the population of people who I worked with, typically low-income people, because I was a public defender and they couldn't afford an attorney. So that's why we were appointed. And I saw all the similarities in the way their households were to my household. It really spoke to my heart, and it told me that this is what I need to be doing. This is where I need to be. And that's why I've stayed in the family court since then.
That's fascinating. Being a public defender is a tough job, and people don't really know it. I think public defenders get a hard rap because it's like you can never do enough. First of all, people are not often in a position. I always find it challenging because we often aren't in a position to afford attorneys. Often, many of us, for various reasons. Some reasons are not people's particular fault. For whatever reasons, they are not in a position to afford these things. But then they find themselves in a position needing something like that, and then they feel like they're not supported or helped as much as they could be. Talk to us a little bit about the job of a public defender. What's a caseload like? What is it from a public defender's view? Are you really trying to help these people? Do you really care? Because I'm sure a lot of people are saying, you don't really care about us. You're not really representing those people. It's your job. You're just doing it. You don't really care. You shared with me earlier, you're barely getting paid. You're trying to help these people. It's not some glorious job that you're like doing for some glorious reason. Like you do that job because you care about people. I'm assuming. You tell me what your thought is.
Yeah, public defenders do get a bad rap. I mean, if you see a public defender on TV, typically they look all disheveled. They've got case files falling all over the place, like they're just not organized and they're overworked and things like that. Now, the caseload can be high depending on, what court you are in, because at least in Stark County, they have the juvenile division, which is the family court. They have the municipal court division, which is municipal court. And then they have the felony division, which would be the general division. And typically you stay in your division. You don't cross over and go to other divisions, so you keep your cases from those courts. But, one of the things that I try to tell people is that public defenders are extremely experienced attorneys because they go into court every single day.
Interesting.
Private attorneys are great. I was in private practice. I wasn't in court every single day. A public defender is in court every day before the judge and before the prosecutor. And those relationships that you develop are important whenever you are practicing law. Another thing you see on TV is that the public defenders and the prosecutor hate each other and things like that. That's typically not the case at all. Everybody knows that, you have to be professional. It's the job. You can fight, you can argue in court, zealously represent your client, but you don't have to hate the other person. You can work with them. Right. And, I think it helps the client ultimately if you can have a good relationship with the court and with the prosecutor's office. But, one of the things you hear as a public defender is you're not a real attorney. Do you even have a law license? Yeah. You're a public pretender, yes. Things like this. And I will always stand up for public defenders because I don't think they get the credit that they deserve. They're very hardworking attorneys. They do care. I've been involved in I don't know how many conversations about cases, about what's going on with this attorney's caseload or that attorney's caseload. Even as a magistrate, I still talk to the public defenders, go to their reunions and things like that. And have conversations with them, and they do genuinely care, but they do have a lot of cases, and sometimes people think they get more if they pay for things, but that's not necessarily true. Public defenders do work their butts off. Yeah, and I've never had a problem with a public defender in my courtroom ever. I've had to use my gavel twice in the 10 years I've been on the bench. I know that commercial said 8 years, but that commercial was shot for my 2022 campaign. I just didn't want to spend I didn't think it was fiscally responsible to spend donors'
Campaign
money
dollars.
this time around to create a whole new commercial when that
Got
one
you.
essentially encapsulates everything I needed to
Got
say.
you.
But anyways, in the 10 years I've been on the bench, I've used my gavel twice, and it's because of private attorneys getting out of hand in court.
Interesting.
Get them getting out of here.
Fascinating.
Yeah, that is fascinating. And I think you cleared a lot of, I guess, misconceptions up that people just.
And I'm sure in anything, there are bad actors in
Yeah.
anything, like police officers, like public defenders, like magistrates, like judges. I'm sure there's bad actors as magistrates. There's bad actors as judges. There's bad actors as paid attorneys and public defenders. But there's bad actors in media, right? But sometimes a few speak for the whole, and it's an unfortunate thing. Or people think this particular person just doesn't care.
Yeah,
And
like
that's
everything, you
unfortunate.
can't generalize. You can't group everybody into a homogenous group and think everybody is the same.
Yes.
It's not the case. I have known some bad public defenders, and they were removed from the office. But the vast majority of them are really good attorneys, solid attorneys. They work hard, and they do care.
That's great.
So look, so you're running for Stark County Judge. That's a big deal, a big step. What motivated you to run? And if you are elected, are there any challenges, any changes or initiatives that you're hoping to change or make different in the courtroom?
Well, what really got me to run was, going to law school. Being a judge was never something that was a concern of mine. I didn't go to be a judge. In fact, I didn't even go to be a magistrate. I just wanted to be an attorney to help people. It was actually my boss at the Child Support Enforcement Agency, because after I was a public defender, I became a child support attorney working in the family court for a number of years. But my boss in the Child Support Enforcement Agency, she found out that there was a magistrate position coming open, and she encouraged me to apply for that position, which I was like, well, what's going on? My boss is asking me to apply for another job. What's happening here? But she said, you know what, I think you'll do a good job on the bench, so I'd like to see you apply. I applied, and I got the position, and I've been on the bench for 10 years now, and I've been making decisions in all the different cases that we handle in the family court for 10 years, because as a magistrate, all the in-court work that we do is the same as what a judge does.
Yeah.
I wear a robe, I have my own courtroom, I run hearings, I run trials, I take evidence, I issue rulings, decisions, and opinions just like a judge does. So because of that experience and that understanding of what being a judicial officer is in the family court, and understanding the decisions that we make in family court have a long-term, sometimes a lifelong impact on children, on families. I wanted to make sure that somebody got on the bench that has experience doing those things. And I've been doing family law, like I said, for 20 years. 17 of those years have been in the Stark County Family Court, either as a public defender or as a child support attorney or as a magistrate making decisions in those cases. I'm not bashing my opponent or anything, but she has never handled a single family court case. She's never even been in the family court. She's never taken on any kind of family court matter ever. And to think that, for example, the first day that the new judge takes the bench, there is a trial scheduled for what's called permanent custody. Permanent custody is when the Child Protective Services is asking the court to legally and permanently sever a parent's rights to their child, so then that child can be adopted by a family. That's what we call the death penalty in the family court, because that is the most consequential decision that a family court judge can make. You are ending the relationship between a parent and a child. And to have somebody make that decision that's never even handled one single hearing in family court, to me, it's scary. And I just wanted to make sure, I think the people and the children and families of Stark County deserve the most qualified and experienced person to take the bench.
Fascinating. So for you, when you think about family court, right, and the importance of that, a lot of people don't know there's differences in courts, right? They're just like, most people, and I think a lot of people like stay out of court, right? I mean, in all cases, I think a lot of times, because it's a very tense thing, and I've probably dealt with court in various ways. One, family court. My oldest daughter, while I never adopted her, my ex-wife had a daughter when we met, and we never fully adopted her, but we did change her last name to my last name, and that was special. We went to family court. And dealt with that. And then, unfortunately, through divorce, I went to family court, and that was unfortunate and tough and tense. And, you go through those moments, and you're just like, you go in front of the judges and things like that. It's very intense. And so in those moments, and then there's many families who are going in court for child custody and things like that. There's a lot of men who go into court, I think, often, and they say it is a female-friendly system, I would say. When it comes to child custody and things like that. What are your thoughts about that to the men out there who say it is a female-friendly system? It is built for the mothers to get custody of the children, to have all the rights to the children, when they're good fathers who just want to be there for their children and have some rights to their children. And, whether they pay child support or not, they just want to be in their child's lives. When you think of it from your perspective, what are your thoughts about that? Well,
I agree 100% that every person that comes into family court should be on equal footing when they come into the court initially, and that's the way I treat cases. I'm on the Fatherhood Coalition in Stark County, and I've been on the Fatherhood Coalition for years. And again, I believe that parties should be on equal footing, and as far as I know, every one of our judges and magistrates believes the same thing. It's just when you come in at that initial hearing on a custody, the parties can make arguments about what visitation should be, what custody should be on a temporary basis while the case goes through court. And that's where that scale gets tipped one way or the other. But one of the first things I did when I became a magistrate was create new parenting time schedules, because our court only had what we used to call Schedule A, which is every other weekend and a midweek visit. So when people come into court and they don't have attorneys, it's difficult to make a parenting time schedule if you don't understand it. So they would say, here's the family court schedule, let's just do that. And that they felt that was their only option. I wanted to give more options. So I put together a panel of guardian ad litems, private attorneys, and myself, and we looked at visitation schedules across the state, every county. And we put together a visitation schedule that's 50-50, a schedule that is what used to be called Schedule A, the same thing as every other weekend and a midweek. And then we created a schedule that's not quite, it's in between those two. It's more than Schedule A, but less than 50-50. We created what's called a transitional schedule. So if you have, let's say, a dad who has never been involved in their child's life, the child's 4 years old and has never seen their father. Well, you don't want to just say, here, Dad, now you've got weekends and overnights. That could be traumatizing for that child. So it's a transitional schedule that goes from supervised visitation and works into a full-time schedule over a number of weeks and months. And then we have a long-distance schedule for people who live too far apart to have, like, shared parenting or 50-50 time. Shared parenting and visitation are two separate issues. Just because you have 50-50 parenting time doesn't mean it's a shared parenting scenario. A lot of people don't know that. But so we created 5 schedules to give people options of what to choose, That's great. Because I believe, there's no one schedule fits every scenario. I went through the end of a marriage. So that's another thing, growing up the way I did, I understand the struggles of families. I understand the importance of child support, because even though my biological father wasn't involved with my life, he did pay child support. And being on public assistance, when you reach that 3rd week of the month, you start running out of food. And we would usually get our check around that time, so that would help carry us through. So I understood the importance of child support, which is one of the reasons I wanted to become a child support attorney. But I've also gone through the end of a marriage. I know what it's like to divide up everything you've gotten during a marriage, everything you've acquired during marriage, what it's like to try to come up with a parenting time schedule that fits your needs and the best interests of your child. But we had the every other weekend and midweek is what we ended up doing. Well, it turned out it didn't work for us, so we just did what we wanted to, but we never had to go back to court.
That's great.
And that's one thing people, when they're coming into court, I stress this to people as well, that if I order a visitation schedule that's every other weekend and a midweek, let's say, and it doesn't work for you in your personal life once you get out in the world, and you want to do something different, you are free to do something different. As long as you agree and you get along. That court order is there for the times that you don't agree and you don't get along, and then you fall back on that and say, this is what we're supposed to do. Because 50-50 doesn't work for everybody, and a lot of people that come into court don't want 50-50.
Right.
But we want to make sure that if that's what they want, that's what they can get.
Right. Love that. Love that.
Yeah, my favorite thing is hearing people's stories and their why. I always ask people what their why is. And I mean, your experience and like your expertise, and then just your personal experience, it says a lot to why you are choosing to run for judge. And I don't want to make anybody's decisions, but I do think it's notable to listen and understand what Matt is saying, because this affects our community a lot, especially child support and visitations and just mom and dad, not getting along, and having somebody with that experience and that compassion, that empathy, is something that I think anybody would look to when you're going to sit in front of a judge, especially when it comes to your children or anything personal in your life. So thank you for that. What do you hope? You've said a lot, and you've said a lot of impactful things that I hope that our viewers are taking it in when it comes down to going out and voting. What are your goals for the Stark County Family Court? And what are you hoping that the people are taking from your story when they're going to these polls to get ready to vote?
Well, my hope for the family court is, one, to move past that that feeling that it is more focused toward one party versus the other. I want people, when they come in, to feel like everything is on equal footing. One of our court is well regarded in the state, and our judges have done a tremendous job of leading our court and coming up with programming for our court that other courts emulate. And I want to continue being a court that other courts can look up to and can aspire to be in the state. And one of the ways we do that is we keep our eye open and our ears to the ground to try to figure out what the needs of the community are. A lot of people, when they first come into a position, they feel like they need to make changes or come up with programs and things like that to show that they're doing something when they get in there. But creating a program for a program's sake is not a good thing, because you have to have programs that are evidence-based, that are going to work the way that they're supposed to work, and they affect the people that they're supposed to affect. So you've got to have the population that you need to be in the program, for one, and you've got to be able to track the progress of that program with data. So you've got to be a very data-focused court, and programming has to be data-focused to be able to make sure you're using the county's resources effectively. And you are making an impact. We've had programs that have come and gone because prior to us being more of a data-driven court, we had programs that they seemed like they would be great programs on the surface, and they were feel-good programs, but ultimately they didn't work because we didn't have the population to fill the program, or it just didn't have the results that we anticipated it would have. Whereas now, when we think about programming, we're very meticulous in creating programming. One of the programs that I created was a OVI program for juveniles, because one of the things in OVIs is you are supposed to sentence them to 3 days in jail or the attention center for kids, or they can do a driver's intervention program. Well, there really wasn't any driver's intervention programs around. And the purpose of the driver's intervention program, there are programs for adults, but not for juveniles. And the purpose is to get treatment for that alcohol portion of the offense. And there really wasn't any for juveniles. And I called around the county because we were struggling with what to do with these kids, because we wanted to get this treatment in place, but we couldn't because there wasn't a program around. And we didn't want to put them in the attention center for 3 days, especially if this was their only offense. They've never had any priors. You don't want to put a kid out at the attention center where there are kids who have serious charges, and then have them negatively influenced by them potentially. So I contacted ComQuest, who has a program that they run called Daybreak, and I asked if there was a way that we could use that program for juveniles, the juvenile OVIs, because it's a program that addresses juvenile substance use. And we were able to work with them and come up with a program to address that. So that was something we did just last year, and it's been working really well for us. And at least it gives us a way to address the substance use issues that come in with OVIs.
Love that. Love it, love it, love it. I think that's a fascinating statement. One, to say that when you come in, it's not always about, I need to do a bunch of stuff. You know, one of the things, and we're going to wrap up this interview. We thank you so much for your time. But one of the things I think that is fascinating often when people are running for office, two things I said recently was, I'm fascinated that people don't often say that person has a good idea, or I don't have to change everything, right? Everybody running for any office, they're like, I got to change everything because everything they did was wrong. It's like, everything they did wasn't wrong. Right. That's not possible. Or like you said, like there's things that we can do just to simply take it one step further, right? And in your position, you said a judge is retiring. You're a magistrate. You're one of the workers. I had this conversation with you earlier. I said it's almost in a corporate business. If a C-suite leader or a CEO was retiring, they might name their successor. Or people may apply for that job. In this case, the person who's going into a higher level position must be elected. And you ran for that position, and that's what's happening. And we, the people, get to choose whether it's you or another person. And here today, you had an opportunity to share with us to apply for the job. That's what you're doing. You're going around saying, this is why I'm in. More than just a billboard, right? And there are billboards to say, hey, I'm Matt, this is who I am, you can see me. But you're also going to places like Lucas Live News and around other places so that people can hear your voice and put a story behind the picture to get to know you. So we thank you that you came here today. To everybody out there, it is your choice to vote. We're not here to tell you who to vote for. This is someone who we've met in the community, who we were interested in, who was kind to us and we thought was interesting. So we brought him here today. Whether you choose to vote for him or not, totally your choice. But we wanted to have you here today. We're grateful for you here today. Our good friend Kyle Stone also speaks very highly of you. We know and love Kyle.
Guy.
Have been with him for many years. And he was very excited that we were having you on as well. So we're grateful for you. We saw you at one of Kyle Stone's events actually as well. Yep. So he was really excited about you. So Matt, thank you so much for what you've done. Any last statements that you want to say before you leave?
You can find my website. I would encourage people to go to my website and look at it has my story, why I'm running and everything about the family court. It has information on what the family court does because a lot of people don't realize all the things that we do in family court. But if you go to KreitzerForFamilyCourtJudge.com or KreitzerForJudge.com, if you look up Krietzer for Family Court Judge on Instagram or Facebook, you can check out our posts and what we're doing on there.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Matt. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We thank you guys for always being here with us. We have more great guests, but we have a great topic coming up here, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to get into a Lucas Light moment here.
It's your time to shine.
It's my time to shine, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to talk about something that I think we all can talk about. And Danny, you're going to join this conversation with me. And actually, this is something that you helped inspire in me, which is interesting because you're my little sister.
No.
You're a few years younger than me. What year were you born?
94.
94. Let me think of what I was doing in 94. 94 was a rough year for me.
You were in high school or something?
I was not in high school. I was at Lehman in 94.
Oh.
Okay. Anyway.
You graduated in what?
2000.
No, please stop.
2000.
It just doesn't sound good.
No, your stuff doesn't sound good. 13. That sounds crazy. 2013. It sounds 13. It sounds like dirty. 2000
no,
dirty.
It
That sounds dirty.
Why are you looking like that?
Okay, what?
Get
Are we
yourself
looking
together.
weird? Am I wrong?
Centered.
Why are we not centered? That's not our fault.
It's my
That's our-
Zoom that I did.
You did it wrong.
I put the scenes together this time, guys. Usually
You did.
Tiffany does,
But you took over?
I did, and
So you were on top of things.
I did a great job.
You did.
If I do say so myself.
Yeah, except we had to slide over because we were off center.
All right, don't do that.
No,
All right,
you did a great
it's
job.
Lucas Light moment.
Okay,
What's
so listen.
going on, Lucas?
So-
Hold on, let's share the live real quick.
Okay, let's share it again. We're going to share it again one more time
Let
for
everybody
the
know
one
we are
time. We want to
transitioning.
thank our great guest here today. We thank him so much. We have another guest coming on here in a little bit. So we have our Lucas Light Light moment come up. We're going to have a discussion here. You guys can join in on the discussion. Next, we're going to have a great hot topic. Just so you guys know, coming up here in just a few minutes, our hot topic is what causes communication breakdowns in relationships. That's coming up. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. Tell somebody. We're going to be talking about that. Y'all got to help us with that conversation because we don't know. Y'all going to tell us. We're going to tell y'all what we think. And y'all going to tell us what you think. What causes communication breakdowns in relationships? We're going to talk about that in just a minute. But we're going to share this broadcast because Danny said we should share it again. That's a good idea.
Hey, thank you guys for staying in the comments and engaging with our guests. We love that. We love to see you guys, in on the conversation. You guys had some really good feedbacks and things like that. So we just appreciate you guys for rocking with us. Jumping in the chat, talking with us. That keeps us going. We see all of the comments.
Yes.
So don't think that we don't see it. We do.
We love and appreciate it.
We really do. Love and appreciate it. So it's Lucas Light moment.
And people Facebook was hating on our post yesterday when we was telling them we was on today. So people may not know we was on because we had our Texas Hold'em song on there and they was trying to suppress it.
Matt, was it Matt Zuckerberg? Is that who it is?
What?
Was he
Matt Zuckerberg. Yeah.
He was the one hating on us?
Yeah. He was hating on us.
Zuckerberg.
They be trying to mess up.
Come on, man.
Because we have had a couple copyright strikes from our music, so they probably watching my page real close.
Matt.
Yeah.
CapCut. TikTok.
All of y'all.
Don't put the music there for me to use. I'm not like old school, like recording it and then doing it. Y'all put it on there for me and then I use it and then y'all strike me. How does that work?
That ain't right. Had one of our producers to go get me another coffee cup. If we have a CSE cup or a Sarda cup, I need a cup because, I like Marianne Donuts and they were very kind to me this morning. And they said, I know you. Seen you on something, and they saw us on Q92 because we were on Q92. They came to the studio this week. Shout out to Christian in the Morning. They came here to represent us and our good friends at Sarda because their podcast comes out on Monday, season 2. Shout out to our good friends.
Shout out to them. Sarda is doing big things.
I'm gonna take this Sarda cup here because I want to represent our friends at Sarda. So I'm gonna pour this in there. Shout out to our friends at Marianne Donuts. They're gonna sponsor us one day. But since
shout out to our team, man. Who is getting coffee live on the set? They're doing that at CNN. And Fox 8. They're also doing it here at Lucas Live Media, Lucas Live News.
We got help, support. We got people around here. Look at that.
Bow. Blue.
Make sure y'all listen to Sarda's Next Stop podcast. Season 2 coming this Monday. Wherever you listen to podcasts, check them out. Season 2 coming to you live. Wherever you listen to podcasts and on YouTube, you can watch the videos. It's going to be a lot of great stuff. Check that out. Okay, Lucas Light moment. Our Lucas Light moment, we do this often. I want to talk about the power of personal belief, okay? So this is something that's really been impacting me lately, and it's literally been changing my life. Now, I knew about this, but something recently, I think it was a conversation we had recently. I don't know what it was, but we were talking about the power of like I am.
Yes.
Like about saying it. And you were actually talking about like a full moon or something. You was talking about like, hey, listen, when this full moon, it's even more drawing.
Yeah.
And I think you were talking about the fact that the full moon, we know full moons have a gravitational pull on the oceans.
Yes.
Now that's a scientific fact. Whether people want to believe in that based on their religion or based on whatever, it doesn't matter. There's science that proves we know that has a gravitational pull. The reason that the earth hangs in balance the way it does and we have our feet on the ground and we don't float away is because of gravity. We know that, okay? That's not a religious belief. That is true. And that has something to do with the moon and the sun and the way our whole solar system works. Our solar system, our Earth is not only spinning, it's also, our whole galaxy is moving really fast through space. Like the whole thing is moving, our galaxy is moving, and it's all spiraling up through space really, really fast. Like thousands and thousands of miles per hour, like crazy fast, and it's moving so fast we can't even feel it. And gravity is what keeps us on the ground. Otherwise, we'd be floating away. And when the moon is full, it's pulling the oceans more. And because our body is made up of so much water, it pulls on us too. And so it has an impact. That's why people, you notice when it's a full moon, they act a little differently. You see more of how they are, right? So when, like if you work in childcare or in schools, the kids tend to act a little different, right? They do. If you work in a hospital or people who have any mental conditions, if you work with mental patients or pre-patients, they act a little different. So you notice that. And we've all seen it, whether you want to acknowledge it or not. That's a real thing, right? So also what Danny mentioned to me is like when you say things, when you affirm your life during that time, it has a greater impact. And I was like, that makes a lot of sense because life and death is in the power of the tongue. That's in the Bible. That's true, right? Life and death is in the power of the tongue. It's in the power of our words. Whatever season it is, full moon or not, life and death is in the power of our words, right? So I started paying attention to the cycles of the moon. I'm like, that is true. And if I start affirming myself all month and then really, really, really on full moon cycles, I will be more powerful. So I started doing my affirmations more morning and night and saying I am. And I started saying I am wealthy. I am rich. I am powerful. I attract all good things to me. I am a creator. I am creative. I am wise. I am smart. I started saying all these wonderful things. And over the last 2 months, since I probably have been saying it more and more, my life has continued to improve more and more. And my life was already good. But the power that I have over the last few months has been absolutely incredible. And I have challenged others around me to not say negative things. And I knew other people who were like that, and I'd be like, come on, can't nobody say nothing negative, shut up, I don't want to hear it, right? But what I found is, it is true. The more positive I say, and this is the Lucas Light moment, the more positive you say in your life, the more positive you're going to get in your life. Life and death is in the power of your words. So watch what you say. And then I started thinking about curse words. We often in our lives say curse words are these silly 4-letter words that somebody made up. Well, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? What is it about those 4-letter words that makes us think those are curse words? No, curse words are you saying you can't do something. You're cursing yourself when you say, I can't do this, I can't do that. Well, I don't know how to do this. Well, nobody will give me a chance. Well, if I only was born with more money, if I only, that's cursing, okay? And for Bible-based believers, like, Jesus cursed a fig tree and he said something to it and the tree died because he said something negative to the tree and the tree died, right? That's cursing. When you tell somebody to go to hell, that's cursing. When you tell somebody, I wish you died, that's cursing. When you say something negative over somebody, that's cursing. These 4-letter words, I mean, I guess if you say a 4-letter word and say you wish something bad on somebody, that's cursing. But we are so confused about what's right and what's wrong that I want to challenge people not to say negative things about themselves, about their lives, about their children, about their spouses, about their family, about their friends. You should only speak life over yourself. Today, start telling yourself that anything is possible. And when people come around you that says it's not possible, get away from them because attitudes are contagious. When people come around you talking negative, tell them to cover their mouth like they have the plague, like they got COVID, like they got something. Say, put your mask on, cover your mouth and get away from me because I don't want to catch what you have. Because your nasty attitude is contagious and I don't want that in my life because I can't afford to get your sickness. Your sad, sorry, sick attitude is contagious and I don't need that in my life. So our Lucas Light moment is the power of personal belief. You are going to see in my life, you probably already look at me and be like, I don't know how his life is like that or how he got this, but you're going to see me a year from now and be like, what happened? Like, how did it go that much further than where it was? When you see my life even 10 times greater than what it is today, you're gonna be like, what was it? And we're gonna rewind this tape and you're gonna say, oh, I remember he said sometime in that season, he really doubled down on his affirmations. He really doubled down on what he believed about himself, and that changed everything in his life. So ladies and gentlemen, when you believe negative about your life, when other people are saying negative about your life, cover your mouth, tell them to cover their mouths, believe in yourself, speak positive over your life, because I promise it will change your life forever.
Okay, Lucas Light moment.
Lucas Light moment.
Love that. It's all about perspective. If we just, we are more powerful than we think we are. And what you were saying, I said, it's all about perspective. If you wake up and say, I'm going to have a crappy day, 9 times out of 10, you're going to have a crappy day.
100%.
You know what I mean? Now, yeah, we know that you got to go do this and you got to go do that, and it might not be the most fun, but you got to see, the brighter side and everything.
Yes.
Because when you don't, you literally let yourself down.
Yes.
You bring your dark cloud over your head. Yep. You do. So it's all about perspective and how you see things. It's your reality.
Yes.
Okay.
You create your reality.
You create
what's real to you. What do you take it as?
Yes. You create your own reality.
Yes.
And I think a lot of the times, we follow in other footsteps, right? We are conditioned to believe certain things. We have to unlearn to relearn.
Yes.
Because there are things that we're just passed down to us.
We're programmed.
We are.
Yes.
We are so programmed, and sometimes we are so programmed that sometimes I don't even realize what I'm doing. I'm like, you know what?
Right.
That's because in all things. So it is mindset and it is perspective.
Yes.
And And it's not easy.
Yeah.
I was talking to somebody at my job because working in childcare can be challenging sometimes, and change doesn't happen overnight. But I think the one thing that we can do is take baby steps.
Yes.
Take baby steps. However that looks, whatever you're struggling with, take baby steps to unlearn, to relearn.
I love
right?
that.
Because it's hard, and I think we gotta be patient and have grace with ourselves.
Yes.
Because if you were doing the same thing, for me, for example, I've been vegetarian for 8 years, but I'm 30 years old. So that means I ate meat for majority of my life.
22 years, right? That's a long time.
For majority of my life. So I had to learn a new way of eating, a new lifestyle, a new how to get in the kitchen and cook different, how to just think about my food in a different way. And it didn't happen. I didn't just one day just stop eating meat. I stopped eating pork and beef. I was eating turkey and fish still. And then I cut the turkey out. And then I cut the fish out. It was baby. I didn't just take it all out. It was baby steps. And now I don't crave it. I don't want it. And not to say it's just the worst thing that you can be out there eating, because processed food in general, I think, is whatever. But that's neither here or there. But it's baby steps and looking at and your perspective again. Just baby steps, perspective, and be patient with yourself. If one day you backtrack, or I'm working on my anger, and one day you snap on somebody, okay, you're still working on yourself though. It's okay. Don't beat yourself. I think we beat ourselves up about the things we're trying to change. Oh, I'm never again. Negative self-talk. Oh, I'm not good enough. I can't do it. I tried it and it didn't work. Well, you tried it for a week. You've been doing it for 10 years. A week is not. It's not. You got to be patient and give yourself grace
and believe in yourself. So through your challenge of becoming what you want to be, don't curse yourself on the road to becoming, right? Too many people on the road to becoming start to say what they're not. Well, I'm just not like that. Well, my family's just not like that. Well, I come from a long line of sorry, sad suckers. It's like, shut up, right? It's like, you've given up before you got there, because it's easier to excuse yourself along the way because it makes you feel good about your inefficiencies or your inabilities, and you can say, well, I'm just not good at this. I am good at everything. I can do everything. There's nothing out there I can't do. You want to do something, tell me what you want to do, and I can do everything. If you want me to fly a plane, I can fly a plane. If you want me to do anything, I'll figure it out. There's nothing I can't do. I can fly if you want me to fly.
Literally.
Like, I literally feel like I can do anything.
I mean, like, what does a pilot have a superpower that I don't know about?
They learn just like I can learn. I can learn anything. I can do anything. I'm not afraid to try anything, learn anything. We place limitations on ourselves. I was listening to this girl's, she was doing something with AI, and it was a little scary because of the things that I was hearing. But what I took from it was we all have it within ourselves. And we talk about like a spiritual awakening or any kinds of things like that. It's awakening the next thing within ourselves. It's not out there. We have to find it. It's already that's the thing.
in us.
That's the biggest thing to me. The biggest thing I figured out was that everything is inside of me. Like, everything already exists inside of me. And the sooner I started to realize that, I'm like, oh, it's in me. It's in me. It's in me already. That's the biggest awakening I've had over the last month, I would say. And even as somebody who understands like scripturally what was said, we are looking for a God outside of us that lives inside of us. And when I realized that, although we kind of know that, like, I think people who believe in God kind of know that, but we are always thinking we're unworthy of God being inside of us. But the thing I realized was, if God is omnipresent, which most believers believe that God is everywhere, God can't be everywhere and not be inside of you. And you can't be unworthy of God being inside of you if he's omnipresent, because that means he can't be omnipresent and not be inside of you because you're not good, because then he's not omnipresent. So if he's not inside of people who are not good, then he's not omnipresent. He can't be both. So then God's not omnipresent because he's not in everybody, or he's omnipresent and he's in everybody, good or bad. He's everywhere at the same time. So then if the essence of God is inside of me and inside the tree and inside the microphone, because the essence of God is in everything, because nothing was made outside of the things that God made. The microphone is made out of material that is God material, because God made the materials that the microphone was made out of. So therefore God is in everything, and therefore because he's in me, I can do anything and everything.
And that goes for anybody out there, right? It just I love that Lucas Light moment. What do y'all think about the topic, Lucas Light moment. Give us your thoughts. What are your thoughts about that? What do you think about, positive self-talk and even affirmations and mindset and perspective and things like that?
I like that. Lisa, throw up Lisa's comment. I'm kind of seeing it. Lisa Smith has a comment there. I love that. She said, whatever things, and this is really good. So this is important. She said, Lisa says, whatsoever things are true, honest, pure, lovely, of good report, think on these things, right? So that's the scripture. But that is not what we do, though, because our social media feed is full of nonsense. And you know why our social media feed is full of nonsense? Because most people, I'm not saying yours, Lisa, yours is obviously filled with good things because you found us this morning, right? Most people's is filled with nonsense because we watch nonsense. And guess what social media gives you? More of what you watch. Yep. And what people don't realize is when their social media feed is negative, it's because it's only giving you more of what you want. So it saw that you've been staring at negative stuff more. It saw that you slow down and scroll to negative stuff. If you pick up your child's phone and you scroll through what's there, and they'd be like, I don't look at that stuff. Yes, you do, because it's showing you more of what you look at. If you look at anybody's phone right now and you see some stuff, be like, hey, that must be what they've been looking at, because it's just showing you more of what they look at. That's just what it is. So people are focusing on a lot of negative stuff, a lot of stuff that's not pure and lovely and of good report, and they don't think on these things. And media is not that, TV's not that, the news is not that. A lot of stuff is not good stuff, right? So we do have to challenge ourselves to feed ourselves more good things, because whether you want to or not, our brains are always being washed with something. So everybody's being brain washed because our brains are always being washed with something. It can't help. Right now, your brain is being washed with the Lucas Light moment. It's always being washed with something. The question is, what do you want your brain to be washed with?
There you go.
That's the choice.
There you go.
And I'm going to wash my brain with positive things. I know I'm powerful.
Yeah.
Like, I'm so powerful. Like, it's unbelievable. I walked away from 6 figures to make 7 figures, to make 8 figures. Like, it's about to happen. And I didn't know it when I walked away from the 6 figures. I was like, I might be crazy. Yeah. But I already knew. I knew it was going to work. I thought I was walking away from 6 to figure out how to make 6. Like, I was like, I'm going to figure out how to make 6 again.
But God said.
Well, yeah. The God in me.
Yes.
The greatest, I was thinking this the other day, the greatest gospel song ever was Mary, Mary's It's the God in Me. Period. Because it's the God in me. It's not the God outside me that I got to go look for and be good enough and be like, God, please out there, come in me. Please. He's like, bruh, I gave you everything you need in me. I'm the God of the entire universe. I got a lot going on. I do not need to keep, I was like a parent. It's like, I do not need to keep peeking in your room to tell you what to do. I already gave you all you needed. You are grown. I do not need to keep telling you every move to make. I gave you everything you needed to be successful. Go on, be grown. Make your decisions. You are fine. I trust you. I love you. I give you everything you need. I'm inside of you. Go make some decisions. Have fun. Be good. And guess what? When you make mistakes, I forgive you. It ain't that big.
It's all right.
I'm a big God.
Give yourself grace.
You're a little person.
Okay.
You just a baby. You okay.
All right. Look, it's hot topic time.
All right. Hot topic time.
On our next guest.
Yes.
So hot topic time. Lucas, this is another one that you kind of put together. So I'm going to let you go ahead and start that off. And guys, again, share this broadcast. It's hot topic time. All right, so this is your time, our time to interact with you, engage with you, give us your thoughts. We're going to give you ours, but here it goes, hot topic time. Give me some hearts, give me some shares, tag your friends. It is hot topic time. What is tea?
And see, this is good. This is good because we have a friend who recently got engaged.
Yes.
So this is helpful for people.
Here we go, Asia.
People who, and this is not, they love each other. And it's funny because Asia's the outgoing, louder one. The scamp is just so chill. He's like chill. He probably like, we don't have communication because he's like, I'm chill. And to every couple out there, whether you're engaged, dating, married, whether you're just figuring it out. And this is also professional relationships. Danny, I got to figure out how to get along. Sometimes we argue. Me and Tiff's love language, we yell at each other all the time. We just do. You said that yesterday?
Yeah.
You came in here, we was just yelling at each other. He was like,
that's
this is how y'all do?
Language.
We just yell at each other all day.
Fuss with each other.
It's like, what are you doing? Stop, shut up.
I be all emotional. I'm like, don't talk to me
why do
like
they talk
that.
to each other like that?
Cry.
This ain't right. We just yell at each other all day. So the hot topic is what causes communication breakdowns in relationships, personal, professional, and family. Okay, so these aren't all romantic relationships. These are professional relationships. You got to work with people, your coworkers, and in families. So we want to talk about this from all realms. You guys let us know in the comments, what do you think causes communication breakdowns? Okay, and I also want to talk about this because I do a lot of traveling. I work with a lot of businesses, and I see it in business, and businesses are always talking about it like, it's hard to get along with my coworkers. They're like, my leaders don't listen. The leaders are like, my teams don't listen. Obviously talking to a lot of people in relationships, they're like, my partner don't listen. it's a lot of stuff going on. So I wonder from you guys what causes communication breakdowns. I would say one thing I want to start with, and you guys tell us what you think. I think one thing that starts with communication breakdowns is, I think one thing that causes is a lack of safety. I would say one thing that I think causes communication breakdowns is people not feeling safe to express themselves.
Okay.
I think sometimes in business, it is that the team doesn't feel safe communicating with the leaders. They're like, man, that boss is mean, man. They don't want to hear me, man. They bite your head off, right? Or in families, they're like, man, you know, cuz ain't playing, man. They'll cut you off forever, man. I don't want that kind of smoke. I just want us to get along at the family reunion, so I don't never say nothing to cuz because they crazy. Or in romantic relationships, the man or the woman or the man, whoever it is, they're like, I don't feel safe to express myself, so I don't express myself. Like, I want to tell them that I'm frustrated or mad or upset or whatever, but it leads to such a blow up until I'm just gonna be quiet. And they be like, what's wrong? Nothing. What's wrong? You was something wrong? Nothing. What's wrong? Something wrong? Nothing.
Yeah.
And it leads to communication breakdowns, and those communication breakdowns can lead to bigger problems.
They're talking in the comments.
Let us see some comments there. Pull up several of those at a time. Throw them on the screen so we can see some of those.
Listening to respond instead of listening to understand.
Excellent.
We also got attitudes. So I want to take a different approach, though.
Okay, what do you think?
You know,
those are great comments. We'll talk about those too.
Let's talk about it.
Attitudes often, yes, and people listen to understand.
But what do y'all think about, you know, with the examples that you gave, right? Let's talk about us. I'm the person that's going to the boss that, oh my God, he's gonna chew my head off, or I'm afraid to tell my partner this because of I don't feel safe, or I don't feel.
You just said you don't like conflict. You just said me and Tiff be here yelling. You be like, I don't want no person.
I don't. But you know what?
Yelling, but.
I'm a Libra, so I'm both ways. I'm always like trying to like see both ends of it, right? What about, is there a lack of confidence within yourself when it comes to approaching? I'm just saying, I'm saying with me too. You know what I mean?
Talk
like
about it.
When it comes to, all right, you got this tough boss. All right, I'm afraid to go in there. What are you so afraid about? You know, that is a person. That as a person, maybe you have higher power, but that still is a person. So whether or not you have a problem, a conflict, a resolution that you're trying to go to this person with, I think the maximum, you have to have confidence within yourself to be able to approach that. No matter what, you get back from that. Because I was working in an environment that just wasn't good for my, you know, whatever, you know, mental health, whatever it is. I had to take a step back and say, regardless of what you're going through or what your reaction to me is going to be, I am not going to let you control or dictate my feelings. Okay. So I'm always going to come to you and say, this is what it is. And if you bark back and you whatever, okay. Reality, that's your reality. You are reacting based on your reality. I am going to react on my reality. Okay. So I can allow you to control me and get all upset and I can't do this. This is great. Or I can that's how.
That's your reality.
You know,
that ain't mine.
That's your reality. You know. So maybe it's just looking at ourselves in those situations.
Yes.
Lack of clarity.
Love that.
Just looking at ourselves, maybe, you know?
Love it.
Not letting people control. And even when, you know, it's our partner or somebody we really care about, you still, at the end of the day, you gotta come first.
Yes.
You gotta, you know, so I don't know.
I love that. Listen, couple things to that, Danny. Don't be stepping on people's toes, okay? They say a good leader is somebody who can step on your toes without messing up your shine. So good job, Danny. Great point, because on one end we can say we're so afraid of that smoke, and Danny came from the other angle and said, well, maybe it's a lack of confidence in you, the person. Maybe it ain't them. Maybe they ain't that scary. Maybe you got to man up, woman up, and just face the stuff. Great point. I love that. Lester Sanders, shout out to our guy Lester Sanders. He a part of that Lucas Live Media team. He said word with the fire emoji. Shout out to him coming to us from YouTube. Make sure you follow Lester Sanders on YouTube as well. Got some great content coming out from the Lucas Live Media Studios. We'll see him here tomorrow. Shout out to our guy Sean Strong Family Foundation, Strong Family Wellness. And clarity. He said lack of clarity. Yeah. I agree
too.
Because a lot of times people aren't. Sometimes, so let's talk about the two-way street of that. Sometimes people aren't good at communicating what they want, what they need. Yes. And sometimes people are not good receivers of stuff. Yes. Sometimes people are like, I don't know what you mean. I don't know what you mean. They just don't want to know. Yeah. Sometimes people are just like, they're going to block it no matter what because they don't want to hear it because they're defensive. Yep. and they're holding up a shield, and no matter what you say, they're going to block whatever word, no matter how reasonable it is. I don't know what you mean. That just doesn't make sense to me. No, you don't want to make sense of it.
Yes.
You just don't want to.
That's a trauma response.
That's a good call.
Too. That's a trauma response.
That's a good point.
And that's another reason why we have to unlearn to relearn. So we can have these healthy conversations and communicate effectively with people. So whether you're in a relationship or you're, your coworker, whoever it is, sometimes it's just having that conversation of, hey, it's a lack of clarity in this relationship. And when I say this and you say this, I think some things get misconstrued and whatever. And so just having the conversation about the clarity part, and just being upfront, like, hey, you said something and it made me feel like this.
Yes.
Was that your intention?
Yes.
Well, did you want, you know what I mean? Because then you got somebody like, no, that wasn't my.
Oftentimes that's the case.
My intention was this and that. I was trying to.
Yes.
Some of us react out of emotion. We react out of fear.
Let me tell you.
We're in our feelings, and so we're coming from a place of in our feelings. But somebody else coming from a place of, this is business, baby. This is business.
You're right.
And I'm trying to,
right.
This person got my head, this person got my head. I'm trying to do this and that. And you're reacting out of emotion.
Yes.
And I'm just trying to get the job.
Right.
Ooh,
that's good stuff. Y'all tell us other comments. Let us know what happens with communication breakdowns in relationships, personal, professional, family. You're right. There are people in business, because I work with a lot of business leaders. There are business leaders that it's just business. Now, here's one thing I would also say, though. Sometimes business leaders say it's not personal, it's just business. What I would say to that in many cases is, there's always a personal side to it. You got to be careful. Some people fire people and be like, it's just business. No.
You've been
That's real
about them
personal.
In the workroom for the last month. You don't like how they dress. You don't like their hair. So it is personal.
And that paycheck is very personal, because when they go home and can't feed their kids, that's real personal.
And
so you got to take that in.
Is like, I turned 30. So
Okay.
my girl. But my thing right now too is, stand on it. If this is what you believe, then stand on it. Don't double back and be like, oh, because you felt some type of way about my stand, let me change it. No. If that's how you feel, stand on that, stand firm in that, and don't let anybody dictate your opinion or your feeling on that. You know what I mean? If you feel like that, stand on it.
Okay, Danny, I don't agree.
All right.
Let's talk about it. So if that's your opinion, that's how you feel, stand on it. Unless you are confronted with new information. If you got new information, because there's been times with us where I'm like, Danny, this is wrong, and you present new information, and I'm like, true, you are right, I didn't think about that angle. What do you think about that? Okay,
so I think that is a part of being open-minded and optimistic about situations. So again, not being so close-minded to new ideas like that, right? So again, let's talk about parenting.
Yes.
I was raised like that.
Right.
My dad did that. My grandma did that. That's how I was raised. If I had to go through it, my kids was gonna go through it too.
Knowing it was trauma, knowing it was bad,
knowing
it wasn't good,
knowing it was bad.
Right.
But why?
Right.
If there's new ways and new things that we can do, why we have to stick to the old thing and not, being open-minded to new ideas, and again, not being so defensive when it comes to
100%.
All right, so you come to me again, and being able to challenge other people respectfully. So when in that situation, hey, Danny, this is wrong, but I'm like, as someone that's not confident would be like, okay, it's not wrong, and then I'm gonna go home and tell DJ well, Lucas said it wasn't wrong, but when I looked at this, it was. So why didn't you say that to him?
Right.
Why didn't you present the new information? Well, Lucas,
Right.
You know what I mean? And just be confident in your way instead of shutting down, feel like a pop balloon. Oh man, be confident in what you bring to the table too.
I think that's important, and I think 90% of the time, both people can come to some middle ground. And I think often I am very quick to apologize and learn, and I think that's helped me so much in my life. I've learned so much because I'm open to learning, and it's going to help me in life. It's cool. And even if the other person's unwilling to learn, that's their loss.
That's their.
Because I'm going to continue to grow. I don't just learn from my mistakes. I learn from other people's mistakes. I'm like, cool, they didn't learn that lesson. I'm going to lap them in the race because I learned what I learned from missteps, and I learned what they learned from missteps. I learned what I learned from tripping over the hurdle, and I learned what they learned from tripping over the hurdle. So you're going to trip over hurdles more, and I'm not going to trip over the hurdles from my lesson and your lesson and their lesson and their lesson. So when they're like, man, he's jumping over all the hurdles. How did he know how to do it? Because I watched everybody's stuff. And I love what you said about being open-minded. I think that's so important for us to not be defensive. And like you said, it's a trauma response. And the sad part about it is we don't even know we're doing it. We don't know we're doing it. And I think it's reacting, not responding. And I teach a lot of emotional intelligence. And there's a difference between reacting and responding. Reacting is an emotional thing. It is a sudden thing. It is our instinct to protect. It is from the animal brain. It is from your amygdala. It's called amygdala hijacking. It is just a sudden, it is the fight or flight kind of thing, right? Responding is from your prefrontal cortex. It is a thoughtful thing. It is like, I choose to respond in this way. I logically thought about it, and here's what I'm going to do. And it might be, I'm leaving this relationship. I'm leaving this job because I so choose, and I'm going to gently pack my stuff. It's not slamming stuff into the box. I'm out of here. I hate everybody. And then you get home and be like, I needed that job. I should have never done that. I love that person. I should have never left that relationship.
Being slow to respond and react. I know when me and Tip was coaching, everybody had a 24-hour rule. So where if something triggered us, because these parents and these girls sometimes when, and even within ourselves, like this coach did that. Give it 24 hours. Think about it, because sometimes when we act out of emotion and we react out of
just the moment, the energy of the moment.
And when we're trying to change, like reacting out of emotion, it's not going to be clear. You're not going to have clarity in that. So go back, think about it, take a minute, because then that's practicing how you want to respond. Taking 24 hours, because you might not have to do that the next time, because now and then get out of my feelings and my emotions and respond in the way that people say my higher self would want to respond, or my ideal self would want to respond. So I just said this yesterday too to my not mother-in-law, but soon to be,
Yes, soon to be. Call her your mother. That's what I call her, your mother-in-law.
I practice being the woman that I want to be every day, right? Because who I am today isn't who I was 10 years ago. Right. Parts of me are. I'm not just somebody that's just brand, but there's certain ways and habits that I had that I don't want to have anymore. I'm a grown woman now, so I'm like, there's a way that I want to move and react and respond and just carry myself as. But if I never did it before, I can't expect myself, you turned 30, then I'm just going to do it.
Right.
So I have to practice being the woman that I want to be. So that's where that grace comes in. That's where that patience with yourself comes in at. But also just being mindful, being present, being pace yourself. To be the woman or person, whoever, man, woman, that you want to be.
You took a long runway into 30. A lot of people think they're going to turn an age and become something. Not true. You were preparing to be 30 so that when the plane took off to 30, you were the woman you wanted to be at 30. You didn't just be like, I'm going to be 30 and all of a sudden I'm going to be brand new. No, you wouldn't have been. You were like, I'm going into becoming 30, and for at least a year plus, I would say, you've been preparing to be the woman you want to be. To anybody out there who wants to be a new person at some stage in life, whether it's a particular age or particular season or start now preparing. And we're about to have a great conversation about mentorship, which is a great way to prepare for who you want to be in the future, whether it's a teenager or a young person or a person of any age. Putting yourself around the right people can help prepare you. Sometimes you don't have a vision of what it is to be a better person, a new person, and you need to surround yourself with the right people to see, that's how I become that. How do you become a better woman? You have to see better women. How do I become a better man? I have to see better men, right?
Let's talk about, our guest coming on too, but yes, it's in us, but we also have to, like you said, put ourselves in a room or just around people that are like what we aspire to be. So for me, I didn't get to see an example of a great, loving relationship, but that didn't mean that it was just all out the window for me. I got to watch you and Karina at an early age. I was 11 years ago. How old was I? I'm 30 now.
You're 20. You was young. You was
I was
young.
about 19.
Yeah, you were
18,
very
19
young.
when I met you guys. So seeing, love, the way you love her and the way she loves you, seeing that, I'm like, okay, there's hope. And I loved y'all. So I'm like, bet. My godparents, Monique and Fred Moore, seeing them, how they interacted in the home experience, cooking and cleaning and just, I'm not looking at perfection.
Right.
I'm looking at people making it work, loving each other through whatever. And then to my boyfriend's parents, seeing them, so I had all these other examples of love and marriage. I didn't see that growing up. I love my mom. I love my dad. And they did amazing.
Wonderful
They did their
they
best.
raised some amazing
they did
kids.
what
I
they
tell them all
knew.
the time, right.
And they did what they knew how to do. Right. And that was, I love them. Shout out to my parents.
Yes.
But I know, and they tell me too, that they're so grateful for the other examples that I was able to see. Me and my sister.
My parents
were
too.
able
My parents
to
are
see.
so grateful for the other parents.
It takes a village.
They say that all the time.
It takes a village. Like,
Yeah.
if you don't know, you don't know. But now, for us, it's not an excuse anymore, right? The knowledge and the resources are out there,
right?
So we can go, and like I said, I look at people like you and my godparents and my boyfriend's parents, like, all right, I just look at and I take that, I put it in my toolbox. And I'm like, all right,
I can do this.
Build me up and how the wife I want to be, mother I want to be, because of the other examples that I was able to see and have. So
love it. Thank you guys for joining us for our Hot Topics. Jackie Scott, we see you. Thank you for your love and support. Aunt Gloria, thank you so much for being here. Our producer, scroll down. I just want to make sure we say hello to those people who are here in the comments.
My grandma, look at my grandma.
Janetta,
she in there talking
appreciate you, Ron Seymour, our guy. Listen to understand. We saw you earlier say that you're so right. That is so important when it comes to communication. Instead of listen to say what you need to say, you got to listen to understand. I saw people commenting on your comments. Thank you guys for interacting with each other, even in the comments. We appreciate you guys who engage with our show here every day. We're about to bring on some great guests here, and we're excited because today we're also going to have students from Canton McKinley. We're McKinley fans. Shout out to the McKinley Bulldogs as well for their great game last week against the Massillon Tigers. Maybe they came up a little bit short, but that's okay. We're not going to talk about that. But they did fight really hard. They played a really tough game, some great defense, a little more offense. We would have won that game, but we're going to the playoffs, and it's okay. We're going to keep battling, keep winning, keep going. It's all good. We didn't bring home that victory bell, but shout out to the McKinley Bulldogs, and our hats off to those Tigers. Good game, Tigers.
We're going to playoffs, so
everybody's going
good
to the
luck
playoffs,
to
so
everyone that has made it into playoffs, all the teams.
Shout out to all our Stark County teams and everybody out there, all our players,
I hope you guys end the season on a good note, on a good
Keep going,
foot.
keep playing. Don't end the season tonight. Keep going tomorrow.
Keep
going. Everybody keep going.
But it's basketball season. I'm ready for that. I'm ready
we got some good stuff coming up with basketball. We got some good stuff. Hopefully some big news coming out of Lucas Live Media with basketball at Camp McKinley. Yes. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we want to welcome our guests here today. Great friends and now sponsors of Lucas Live Media and Lucas Live News. We want to welcome to the show Executive Director of Mentor Stark, Miss Laurie Moline, and a very important part of Mentor Stark, our good friend, kind-hearted, wonderful guy. Every time I see him, every time I talk to him, I'm like, why don't I spend more time with this guy? Our good friend, Isaiah Smith. Welcome to the show, both of you.
Welcome.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate you guys having us.
Yes.
Thank you. Big supporters of ours. I want to thank you both from Studio One. A few doors down, we were in the smaller space.
Yeah.
To here, to always believing in us. Danny, when you first met Laurie, what was your impression? Because you couldn't stop talking about her. I was like, yeah, we met her. She's wonderful. I know, but you just kept talking about her.
First, I was like, wow, I've never met another Laurie with her name spelled the same way my mom's name.
Okay, right. Okay.
The Laurie is like it's always Lori. But I just think you have a way with kids. You have a way. I know why you're a mentor, and I know why you started Mentor Stark, because you have this strong passion for our youth. You have this passion to pair them with someone that could help them transform their lives, push them, give them that extra push. The way you speak to them, the way you interact with them, I'm like, she is the woman for the job.
Yes.
And I mean, with all of the kids, I mean, there are certain kids that, I've been a coach, I've been a teacher, and they're challenging, but I don't know how you do it, and I want to learn some more.
I know, right.
But you have a way to connect, and they trust you. They love you. You brought children into your home, into your personal life, and I think that's just a strong testament of your character and your passion for Mentor Stark. So I love and appreciate you for that. Wow.
Wasn't expecting that. I
That's
appreciate
true.
that.
That's
You did me
the
all
truth.
well
That
up
is the
here.
truth.
That is how
Yes.
we feel about you. Absolutely,
Thank
Laurie.
you.
And I feel the same way. And I was so excited that Danny got to meet you that day. We came to your office and we went to
Took
lunch.
us to lunch, like
Yeah, and I've got to
With students.
With
Which was
students.
amazing.
Yeah.
And you guys were
Yeah.
so awesome with them.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, Laurie, let's just get started. For people who don't know you, talk to them about you, your organization, and why you're so passionate about the work you do.
Yep, absolutely. So, as you said, I'm the executive director of Mentor Stark. Our goal is to just kind of advance the whole youth and mentoring movement in Stark County, because we know how important it is for young people to have what we call a web of support, and maybe we can talk about that in a minute. So we want our young people here to have the skills, the confidence, the character, and the connections to be able to create whatever life they want for themselves. And I think, when you talk about like those recognizing your gifts, and I see, Lucas, you talk about this a lot in what you've built here. Isaiah and I, we see the gifts in kids. We see their strengths, no matter what they're going through. We can see those strengths. We can see those things that drive them and give them energy and really like bring the light out in them. And so that drives us. So it doesn't really matter what everybody else says about them. That we really see that, and we just love to create opportunities for them to be able to move forward with that. So. I kind of tripped into the mentoring movement back in like 2011. I had done something over at Canton City Schools that was called Day of Opportunity, where you do mock interviews with the students. And they were so uncomfortable talking to me, and yet these were career tech students at Canton City, and they were gaining these incredible skills and knowledge that were in demand in the workforce. But there was a real disconnect between, them actually being able to be out and building relationships. So I started a program back in that day with United Way, and that's how I met Isaiah. And so I kind of tripped into this career-based mentoring world, started building these mentoring relationships, started just learning from the students and then having to do my own research. So I loved everything you were talking about before we came on, because the reality is, we have to learn how to be in good relationships with young people. We have to learn how to understand what they're going through. We have to, as adults, even curb our own responses to things and understand what trauma looks like and how behaviors and how decision making and all those kind of things. So I just kind of kept learning through these relationships and asking them, like, what do you think kids in our community need? And so that led to the starting of Mentor Stark. So in 2020, I launched the website because I was building relationships with all the other grassroots mentoring program leaders in our community. We have amazing programs in our community. But nobody really had one place to go, whether they wanted to be a mentor or whether they wanted to get a child in a program or were a young adult trying to find a program. So during the pandemic, I just launched the Mentor Stark website that just had everybody's information on there. What kind of programming they ran, what volunteer opportunities they had, contact information, just to kind of be a central hub. And I try to keep up on, all the different activities things have going on and keep that on our website. And then in 2021, I ended up incorporating it as a nonprofit. So, that's kind of one arm of what we do with Mentor Stark, is just try to promote what everybody's doing. But then we also run this Opportunity Club, which is 15 to 27-year-olds that we partner with several school districts, including Canton City Schools, and that's why the broadcast media and commercial photography kids are coming here today. We like to meet students when they're in high school and then stay connected to them afterwards, when sometimes they can become most vulnerable. So, and that's really how we kind of support the organization, is through those contracts. And, so Isaiah, I met him back in the day in 2013, right? When he was a student, 2013, when he was a student at Canton McKinley. And Mentor Stark probably wouldn't exist if Isaiah wasn't part of it now, So I came in as a mentor, but now he's part of my web of support,
That's
he's an equal driver of this organization. So I'm gonna stop talking. So
I want to I know that was amazing. You hit almost all my questions that I was going to ask right in that intro. But I still have plenty more to ask. But before we get into the programs and all the great things that Mentor Stark does, Isaiah, tell us a little bit about your role. And we kind of heard how you got into Mentor Stark, but what's your role in just give a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I actually have a pretty cool role that I'm very blessed of. It's called, I'm an opportunity guy, where I'm able to kind of help create opportunities and be able to guide them through that. It could be something simple as if we have students here and they're nervous to introduce themselves to you. It's like, all right, let's first off, let's go do a little one-on-one session. Let's practice, doing your elevator speech. That's like a big thing we do with high school students, is having them do their elevator speech, introduce themselves. And then what's cool about the relationships with the schools is figuring out the challenges that they have. So whether it be like a big challenge right now is just trying to help the Hispanic populations and the Spanish-speaking population, just be able to help the schools and understand what they're going through and the resources that they need. And just overall the challenges that the schools face, just dealing with, inner city students, just challenges they face as far as finding careers that are out there. We've been blessed, like she said, we've been doing it for a long time, honestly, and just been blessed to first off build relationships in the community of those who have the opportunities, and then build relationships with the students and young adults that need those opportunities, and kind of be a bridge for that, and make it to where I always say we're kind of like a middleman, or most definitely a bridge to where we can make both sides be comfortable meeting each other, and then make it a fun experience but also an educational experience. And one thing I always say about, like, one of my favorite quotes is opportunity is the antidote to poverty. And I believe what we created really shows that. We've been able to take students, it's not just poverty, but just alone in general, opportunity kind of creates a opportunity for young adults to develop and get exposed to really what's out there. There's a lot, as you guys know, there's a lot of careers out there, even things that you could start on your own. You're a perfect example. You guys are a perfect example, actually. And so we're just trying to give the young adults the value, knowing their worth, and the skills that they have to be able to break out of any situation that they're in.
That's awesome. I really, am a big fan of it, and mentoring. Even as a parent, I know the value of mentoring, because as much as I worked with kids and mentored kids and did all that, my kids needed mentors. My kids needed people other than me to talk to them. Even now, sometimes I'm like, Danny, I need to talk to Savannah. You know what I mean? Like my daughter's like, I need other voices in their mind. It takes a village, and no matter what a parent does, we always need more support. And it's so valuable and so powerful. And one of the things, Laurie, that you guys talk about is a web of support, which I think is an interesting term that maybe a lot of people have not heard. So can you define and help us understand what exactly is a web of support?
Yeah, so, there was some groundbreaking research that came out in 2017. For me as a mentor, in the old days, kind of mentoring was this idea of maybe like a big brother, big sister relationship, where it was defined as, you saw a student once a week for an hour and you went to a ball game or something. And I was building all these relationships with all these young people, and for every one of them, I was playing a different role in their lives, just depending on what was going on. So this research came out that was called Defining Webs of Support, a framework for understanding youth development. It was out of America's Promise Alliance, and it talks about that young people, need this, and I don't know if I've sent the graphic, I don't know if we have it or not, but basically it's kind of this whole circle that includes the people that are already in their life. So that's what we call like their bonding social capital. So family members, guidance counselors at school, people that they can already identify as part of their support system. But then programs like ours, we bring in bridging social capital, as well as a lot of the other mentoring programs in the community or youth programs. So you're trying to expand their connections. You're trying to expand the things that they're exposed to and the people they're exposed to. And now the mentoring research is showing that you can have a very powerful one-off, there we go, there's the web of support. So when you talk about that blue part, that's kind of the bonding social capital. Those are the people young people are normally exposed to through kind of the natural systems of their lives. The yellow part is the bridging social capital. So that's when you start bringing them to a Lucas Live where they've never met you before and they've never met you before. But now, and what happens when Isaiah was talking about that idea of the elevator speeches, we were really trying to teach them to do this on their own. We want them to introduce themselves to you, and we want your wheels to start turning so that when you meet this student who has a certain interest, you're saying to us, you ought to take them there, or they should meet this person, because now we're building out that web of support. So it's very important because sometimes we, even in the bonding social capital, we all exist in families, and we might have a young person that is interested in going in nursing. They have an aunt that's a nurse, and nobody's even talked to that young person, or that aunt could create a job shadowing opportunity for them and share. So, we're really about trying to help leverage the existing connections, have the student learn to do that, have the family learn to do that, and then continue bridging. So. And also, I guess when we talk about the mentoring programs, we have probably close to 40 programs out there that are just doing great jobs in youth programs. We want young people to be plugged into a lot of those programs. We're not worried about redundancy. We want them, going to She Elevates for entrepreneurship and doing the Minority Achievers program at the Y, and going to enrichment for their arts things, and doing the walking with a purpose, and building those connections so they feel that they're actually part of a connected community. So I'm
makes a lot of
just super
sense.
passionate about it, as you can tell.
I love that. That makes a lot of sense too, because I think sometimes people think it's one or the other, or these parents take advantage of everything. Good.
Yes.
Right?
Great.
Yes.
It's out here, and like you said, walking with a purpose. That's one of their things. It's like, okay, if you're doing it, great. You're helping kids too.
Right.
So are we. So yeah, I think that is. It's great to have all of these resources out there, and for us to take advantage of all of those resources. That's what it's all about anyways.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Isaiah, when you think about mentoring, what do you think is something that people don't know about mentoring and its importance?
That's a good question. I would say maybe how much time commitment it could be, and resources you could use to be able to help that student. Because once there's some students where you may have to work for a whole year or two just to be able to get them off their feet, which I know there's a lot into that. But if you're in this field really passionate about it, then that's just what you're going to be going through. Because some, like Laurie was saying back in the day, mentoring was more of the
one-on-one game.
I see you one time a month. But the thing is that sucks in between that is that, for one, that a young adult might not feel close to you to be able to open up about a lot of things that they're actually going through.
Right.
Because it's like, they only see me once a month.
Exactly. How do I tell you
it's
about
the same type of
going
thing. It's
on?
like, all right, you're doing the same thing that maybe somebody else is doing to me. You come in and just check on me, and you're leaving now, and just building that trust, it sounds like.
Yes, I'll say that's the biggest thing. Once you build trust with a young adult, and as you guys know, with just anyone in general, for one, they're going to open up to you more, and then as a professional, we have the resources to be able to help them with that.
Yeah,
that's good.
Whether it be I'm struggling with food, this week, or so that's what's cool about all the relationships in the community, and us having good relationships with them, or just people in general, just having good relationships that we can connect them to the resources. So I'll say for sure the time, and then having the resources to be able to do it.
And I was going to say, that's why it's so important for mentoring programs that we build out our own web of support, because we can't do everything. But what we're trying to do is get the kids to be able to do this for themselves, young people to do it for themselves.
Yes.
I mean, I've taken a young person to JFS where they needed to get, on some benefits and stuff. And we walked up to the counter, and he just looked at me, and he was like, I don't know what to say, So that learning to say, hi, my name is, I'm here to ask about a lot of young people, especially a lot of people in general coming out of that pandemic. They're not comfortable talking to anybody. They're not comfortable asking for help. And the reality is there is a lot of help, and there is a lot of resources.
Yes.
You have to be sometimes resilient to find it, but it is out there. And so we try to make sure that we're there, and then we also try to be kind of a warm handoff, because there's also a lot of places that say they do a lot of things, and then when you actually show up to take advantage of it, or there's a million hoops and eligibility things, and you just you do have to be resilient sometimes. And that's where we as mentors, it's like, man, I know that's frustrating, but let's get on phone, let's hang on there for a minute, or let's see what connections we have that could, at least get us talking to a person.
And I'll say another challenge that I think mentors have is just being vulnerable as well too, and sharing their
themselves.
Story. Being themselves. Yeah. Not looking as I know everything. I'm the adult, and I'm going to give you all the advice, and you take it. It's more of like, I've been through a lot too, and you dealing with a single parent. I've also dealt with a single parent. I know those challenges, but this is how I overcame them.
Yes.
And, you might have a different journey, but here's some things that helped me. Maybe you could try talking such and such. Like Laurie said, actually going with them, because I feel like some may not understand that sometimes you actually have to go with a young adult to, whether it be going to JFS, going to a food bank with them, making them feel comfortable too, and then also connected them with people that are in those resources as well too, so they know, they know that they're not just a stranger, basically.
Right.
Yeah. Really
awesome.
building trust. I mean, that's how you do it. Really building that trust. It's not just about, opening up, but I'm there with you. I'm holding your hand. We're going to go in here together. We're going to talk together, because some of their parents, they can't do that. They won't do it, whatever the case may be. And to have you guys there to be able to do that is so helpful, especially for a young adult that doesn't know how to go out and get the resources or get the help or ask for the help. I really love when you guys do the elevators pitches, because it got them, we were at Jersey's, I think.
Yep.
It got them a little uncomfortable, but you didn't give up on them. You encouraged them to give that speech, tell us about who they are, and once they started talking, there were some great things that they said.
Yes.
And because of how shy they were, maybe we wouldn't have known that. But you guys, you didn't make it an uncomfortable situation. Like, come on, say it. You let them. They were so comfortable.
Helped them. You led out of them. You said, what
asked
about
some
this?
questions to get them to open up. And that's why I said to you, Laurie, that just seeing you in action is like, shoot, I gotta go back to.
Because teens are tough.
Yeah, they are.
Tough.
Yeah, and our teens are tough. Our teens, especially right here in the city, in the inner city, our kids are facing things that we would be shocked at times. And I think another point that you made too is, you didn't say this verbatim, but meeting them where they are. Like, generations, they're changing. These kids are changing, and now that I'm getting older, I see that in such a different way, in different light. Like, the way that my dad talked to me isn't the way that I can talk to my son necessarily. I have to switch it up and change it up, and I think you guys do a great job at doing that, so you can really meet them where they are and understand them, and they can understand and trust you guys.
And I think it's important that, young people are programmed to be pulling away from their parents during teen.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that is why it's important to have so many good, trusted voices in their lives. And, our model is like what they call a near-peer model. So when you have somebody like Isaiah that is working with them, who's not that far removed from the things that they're going through right now, it can be really, really helpful.
Right.
Yeah, and honestly, that's what the power that we've seen is that peer power. I guess you could say that the peer power is very powerful. And you guys, I know what's cool about the peer power is that it's all ages. As you guys know, kids influence each other, teens influence each other. Young adults my age influence each other.
Older adults.
Older adults influence each other, and that peer power is very powerful. And that was kind of like my role earlier, was just like a peer connector. I'm connecting to my peers. Here's what I've learned out in the community. Here's the skills that I've gained to help me break out of generational poverty, those kind of things, or even just the mindset of generational poverty. And so it's like, all right, peers, here's are the skills that I gained. Let's gain these skills, kind of together.
Yes.
And then the cool thing about, well, first I did want to say what you guys were talking about before we came on is all true, and it's all something that maybe some people don't understand bits and pieces of it, but everything that you said, even down to like being open-minded, like even if you're at an older age and you've been having the same mindset for 30, 40 years. It might be time to just maybe try to listen to your child a little bit, just to try to hear them out and try to maybe change, maybe some things that are going on in the house.
Yes.
Or maybe even asking them, it's okay for you to ask as a parent, is there anything that I've done, to that affected you, the way that you think?
Yeah, that's
those
a
kind of
great
things. Because those conversations that it's like, yes, mom, when you did this, maybe I was scared to even talk to you, mom, about it.
Yes.
I didn't think that you cared or listened.
Yes.
But now that I know that you cared, yes, this hurt me when you did this hurt me when you did that, and affected my, how I react to certain things or certain people. Like even me personally, I was always angry in elementary. I didn't understand why actually till now, But I was always angry, like always trying to fight, always, not caring. I'm like, you're not my, like talking to the teacher, like you're not my parent. Like
you seem so chill.
Yeah,
that was
I know.
Right? I told you I was almost expelled from elementary school. But it's the environment,
Exactly.
It's what you learned. is
And
what you do.
Exactly.
You know, like
or what you're internalizing.
or what you're
You know?
internalizing,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
my thing was just conflict resolution. Like I seen people arguing and fighting, so I thought that was the way to go.
Yep.
I seen people disrespecting somebody. I thought that was the way to go. If somebody was challenging you, you barked back. I thought that was the way to go. No matter, and people would always say, I don't care if you older, younger, whatever. So I challenged my teachers, I challenged my principals, I challenged everybody until I had something to lose. I got on a cheer team. They said, "Hey, if you keep that up, you're gone." I was like, "Oh shoot, I like this. Let me, you know, try, you know, some different ways and different approaches." And I think I'm very pleasant now that I tried it my own way, you know, instead of the ways that I was just, you know, it was passed down.
And what you said right there is what's important for everyone to find. It's important for them to find that, you know, one or a few things where it's like, I don't want to lose this. I want to, you know, whether it be like goals. Like for me, a big one was going to college because I was like one of the first in my family to go to college.
Same.
And so you know, it's like I don't want to do anything to ruin this, whether it's friends, environment, you know, family, which sucks. So just some of you guys know, like sometimes you may have to, you know, separate yourself from family, friends, just for you know, a little bit, a long time, just to
whatever it takes.
Not to find your way though, because even when you talk about the peers, for me, going to college was because I seen everybody around me doing it. Nobody, if it was up to my mom, I would have been at home laying in the bed with her watching her shows and stuff. She didn't want me to go nowhere, but because I was on a cheer team, and that's why it's great to get our kids involved. Like, you know, people right now kind of talking about sports and it's too much. It's character building, and it's getting them around like-minded people, because that's the case for me. Everyone on the cheer team was doing their SATs and their ACTs, and I was like, okay, let me go do mine. Or y'all applying to school? I was the last one in my group to apply to the college and go, and I didn't even know what I was doing. Next thing I knew, I was heading down to Toledo or up to Toledo, and I was getting dropped off, and I was like, how did I get here? But it was just my peers were doing it, and you know, I having a relationship with my counselors at school, my cheer coach at school, they were encouraging me to do it, and they got me.
Your bonding social.
They got me on that path. Truly, I mean, truly. And you know what was so cool about my story is I went to Toledo, I graduated college. And my dad went to Stark State and graduated college just because he's like, my daughter can do it, I'm doing it. You know, so that's so you know cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
You know,
awesome.
So you know,
and moments
bonding
like that,
social capital.
Yes, absolutely.
Even your parent.
Exactly. That is truly how it works, you know, and that's what I say, you know, when we talk about we're all on each other's web of support. So even as we're helping young people learn to build it out, we're saying, whose web of support do you sit on? How can you leverage the connections that you have or the skills that you have? We have a session today on how to buy a car. So we're going to hit back at McKinley, and we're having those auto kids come in, because a lot of kids don't know how to buy their first car, but you have these kids across the hall that know how to, you know, check things like, is there battery corrosion? Now, you know, what's the oil look like? And so, you know, just how to really leverage, you know, those skills. If we're all helping each other and really creating a more connected community, everybody moves up. You know, everybody gets where they want
to go.
So I know we got to, I think, talk about
last thoughts
from partnership.
Yes, our partnership. Let's talk about that before we wrap up. So everybody out there, we are excited to be partnering with Mentor Stark here at Lucas Live Media for the long haul. Is our plan to be working with them. A very creative partnership, a very creative sponsorship. We have other sponsors, as you guys know, like SARTA. Make sure you check out season 2 of Next Stop coming out this Monday. We're so excited. We're going to have them on the show. We're hoping next Friday, the hosts of Next Stop, hopefully next Friday. And CSE and Jessica Danielle Nails, shout out to them. Canton Roofing. Shout out to everybody who are our sponsors. But Mentor Stark, you're going to start seeing their logo on everything as well. Laurie reached out and said, I have a creative idea on how to be a sponsor. And it was like something I never heard of, but it was perfect, about how to provide some support for us with actual help that would be help to her and someone who could help us. So Laurie, why don't you tell the people about our new employee that's going to be working with both of us?
Yep, absolutely. So it's very exciting because it really is web of support in action, right? So Olivia Hunter is going to be joining our team. And I did want to mention we also have George Gonzalez, who's not here today, who is bilingual and helps with some of our Hispanic students. But Olivia Hunter's going to be joining our team. So when we talk about Web of Support, Olivia was one of Danielle's cheerleaders, right?
Yes.
So Danielle's been an important part of her Web of Support. She's been a Lighthouse student and then a Lighthouse intern, just getting ready to graduate from University of Akron. But her focus is really going to be on telling these stories of everything that's going on in the mentoring and youth movement and really celebrating the amazing things that are happening in this community. We're so focused on, our school contracts that we don't always have time to do the things that we want to do. And so for Olivia, who is, really excited about like expanding her broadcast skills, this was kind of a perfect win-win-win-win-win. She's got a lot of skills and talent in social media, and so she's going to learn a lot from working with you guys. So she'll be kind of going out, doing spotlights on different programs that are out there, just kind of getting the good word out, and then also just helping us better understand how to be a mentoring mindset community, because it is very important to understand there are best practices in mentoring, and there is harm that you can do to young people. And so, even the conversation you were having earlier about adults needing to process trauma and all that, as mentors, we have to keep learning and we have to keep understanding what those best practices are. So I think we're going to try and do some little mentoring tips on different Lucas Lives and things like that, and just share what those resources are. There's so much free knowledge out there that we're just excited to partner with you guys. You're doing such a great job, and we're happy to support this. So
thank you.
Thank you, Laura. We're so excited. Yeah. Olivia was your girl. Now, we did have her in for an interview, so that was cool.
Yes, it was.
You already knew her and loved her. But
I already know and I love her.
I had to drill her and make sure
I support her in whatever she does. She has turned out to be a pleasant young lady, and I'm so proud of her. Shout out to Olivia.
Yes.
Now, we do have some parents in the chat, and we do have some young people in the chat, because what I do love about your guys' program too is that it goes up to 27, because being that I just turned 30, at 24, at 25, 26, I was still looking for a little bit of guidance. There were things that I still just didn't know. So if anyone out there, young adults that are in the chat, parents are in the chat, even people out there that are wanting to maybe be a mentor, they have some things to offer.
Yes.
How can they get started with Mentor Stark? What can they do to get their children involved or even themselves involved, or as a mentor?
Get some information.
Yep, absolutely. So they can go to our website, www.mentorstark.org. So if you click in like the community mentoring tab or the career mentoring tab, you'll see a list of all the different programs. And there's so many ways to get involved, whether you want to mentor with Legacy during school day, when you want to do some things with Be a Better Me. I mean, there's lots of different ways to get involved. There's also a How Can We Help button. So if you don't see anything on that listing, go ahead and fill that out. We're still building out our capacity to be able to serve people that have graduated. A lot of times we're meeting them in high school and we continue serving them that way through our school contracts. But we try to help everybody that we can. So if there's a 22-year-old out there that's just kind of trying to figure out next steps, we want to hear from them and then see what we can, pull them into and get them connected to. So
wonderful.
If I can just give a couple of little advices from my experience, just don't be scared to share your story. There's also some certain trainings out there to just help you kind of understand how to actually just have a mentoring mindset. I'll say that's really the biggest thing, is once you have that mindset, you can see things a little differently. You can just see everyone's story. Like, for example, it's like some of the students that are not really interactive at the school, have their head down. Like, we understand, there's probably a lot going on at home. So really just trying to learn as much as you can about how to recover. I'll say that's a big thing, because there's no due date. There's no date on when to recover. So really understanding that. And I know I said before, but really look into some trainings. There's some good local trainings that kind of help me just kind of word things, a little differently, how I would have worded them, and just understand a little bit more of how I can be a better mentor to who I'm serving.
Love that. Well, thank you both so much for being here with us today. It was a pleasure having you. Shout out to Olivia, who will be with us next week. We look forward. We're going to have her. We're going to force her to come on and say hello. She's more of a behind the scenes person, but we're going to get her involved. We're excited to have her. Thank you guys both so much. We're looking forward to being partners for the long haul. We look forward to it. Thank you guys both so much.
Thank you.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we are close to close. Danny, this has been a fun episode today.
This has been a fun episode, and I think our viewers out there, one thing about us is we like to have fun, like to kick it, like to do all that stuff, but we're educators at heart.
Yeah, we are.
So to be able to give you guys insight, to be able to give you guys a little bit of knowledge, to be able to give you guys just some different ideas on different topics, and to open up your mind and change your perspective and get your mind, your wheels going. That's one thing. I love seeing the comments in here. You guys are really engaged and really involved. And some of you guys, like Sade said, she said this conversation is helping me look at, I can't read it because it's small.
Her teenage.
There it goes.
Yeah,
she said, I hate the weight my teenager puts on different peers' opinions.
The weight my teenager, but they're trying to make it. Our producers are making it small for us.
Yeah.
It's okay. They didn't know. It's okay. There it is. She's doing something for us, trying to help us out.
But either way, she said this conversation is helping me look at this from another angle.
Yes.
Good peer role models in place
Yes,
can be positive.
Yes.
So I love that we are able to help somebody to get their, change their perspective, or even just give them some new ideas on how to navigate, being a parent, being just a person, being a student of the game, anything. So I love that part too.
Absolutely. So, ladies and gentlemen, we really appreciate you guys being here with us for another great episode. We had some great conversations, some great topics. Our Lucas Light moment, which you really helped with. We want everybody out there to think about your I ams, what you say about yourself. Don't curse yourself with all the things you can't do. Who cares? You can do anything if you believe you can. I believe it was Henry Ford who said, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you are right. So believe you can, because you can do anything. Shout out to Asia.
That's so sweet. That was shout out to my role models, even at my adult age. Don't do that.
Love that. We love Asia. Shout out. We can't wait to have you here in studio with us on Fridays. I didn't tell her to quit her job on Friday.
Because
I told her to come down with the Friday fever.
Yeah, Lucas is about to rescue us all.
I am rescuing
from our
y'all
day
from
jobs.
your
We can
day
do this all day long.
Yes, all day.
Because that is all of our dreams right now. And you know what? When you change your mindset and you change your perspective, because a lot of times we are afraid to walk away from those 9 to 5s because grandma and mom said, if you don't go to work and do, but that might not be the case for all of us.
Let me tell you what I just
build
told
our own
somebody
reality out here, okay?
Let me tell you what I told somebody the other day. This was a crazy conversation.
Rescue me.
They said I was having coffee with somebody. Shout out to her. She was a wonderful person. And her husband, and she was talking to me about her husband and their entrepreneurial goals. And she said, I'm just not as entrepreneurial as you are. We just aren't as entrepreneurial as you are. And I said, you know what's crazy? Once upon a time, people didn't have jobs. Everybody was entrepreneurial. If you didn't work, you didn't eat. You farmed, you did something to provide for the community, you made clothes, you tended to the horses. Everybody did something entrepreneurial to take to the marketplace. I said, we've been trained to have jobs, and now we think it's odd to be entrepreneurial. I said, so we've just got it backwards. I said, I'm not odd. I'm like we always were. The industrial age created systems of jobs. Then we created schools to teach people how to go work in those jobs. That's new. That's in the last 120 years. That is not how life was for the majority of human history. I said, so I'm not odd. It is odd that we now think you have to go to a job.
It is odd that we now depend on everyone else for us to
provide
eat.
us to eat. Yeah, I was like, we farmed our own land. We did our own stuff. So I'm like, I'm not odd. I was like, so stop thinking what you can't do. And me and her sat there and I talked her through a whole business plan on how they could build this whole business out right now. And now with technology, you can skip the middleman. I'm like, you could do this, and this because of technology. And she was like, that's amazing. She was like, I'm so inspired.
I think people...
And not that we can't work together. In the marketplace, we can work together. We can work together. We can work together. So let's build common unity to bring our talents together in an entrepreneurial fashion. But we don't have to just go and be so dependent to where it's like we need layers and layers of corporate people
they was
to tell us what to do.
getting ready to lose their brain, but y'all was tracking on me, and if y'all was growing your own food, you wouldn't have to be so worried about the government shutting down, the port shutting down. You know what I mean? We can find our own means of survival, but we got to quit being so
I'm calling you a baby, not a fish. We going fishing.
Period. When I was in Belize, it was kids with not a fishing pole. They had the line, and they were putting that baby in the water. and pulling up their fish. And I almost, I don't eat meat, and I almost wanted to eat some meat because they gave me an offer I couldn't resist. They said, if you come with us out on this boat and we go and catch the fish, you can bring it back to the restaurant and we'll cook it, and all you'll pay for is your size.
No
I was
way.
like, what?
I had to have that.
So I can go catch me a salmon or a snapper right now. You're gonna cook it, and all I gotta do is pay for my mashed potatoes. All right, bet.
Yeah, I'm about to do that. Listen.
But that's how they're living out there, using their reresources. It was. I'm telling you guys, I can't wait to put my vlog together so y'all can see what I'm talking about, because just your perspective, man.
It changes
we
everything.
are here and we think this is the only way, and it's not.
Yes.
So just expanding that, opening up your mind to new ideas, because a lot of the things that we are shown and taught and fed, it's not the only way, and we are so dependent on just that way. And being a little open-minded and understanding that there are other ways that we can survive out here.
It's possible. Ladies and gentlemen, we thank you guys so much for being here with us for another episode of Lucas Live News. Shout out to our team behind the scenes. Shout out to Tiff. Shout out to Brandon. Shout out to everybody who helps us in making these things happen. Shout out to Asia.
Shout out to Asia. Shout out to Asia. Congratulations. I'm going to send you the videos right now. But even though she can't be here with us on Friday, she has been in this chat. She has just been supporting us from. I hope she ain't at work. I hope she on break for these, but she's supporting us, right? And we appreciate and love that. And to everybody else, Miss Jacqueline Scott been in here, Shardae's been in here, Ron and Latonia has been in here. All of our loyal supporters.
We really appreciate you.
Shout out
and
to
everybody
you guys.
who jumped in and out, who had to go to work, had to do whatever they had to do. We appreciate you. We're going to be putting out clips better of our news show. So if people who have to watch it by replay or want to see the clips of these great conversations and great pieces, we're going to get them out there so you guys can enjoy. We'll see you guys next time. We'll see you guys Monday for a special episode, a Lucas Live News special with Cap 3 of Joy 1520. We'll see you guys soon.
All right.
Bye, everybody.